Let's make this cat journal today with removable pages. Now the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to decorate this background paper with my mica gloss inks. I've got a couple colors here. This is called magenta and sapphire. You want to shake these inks up really good to get the mica pigments all blended in, and then I squeeze a little bit out on my sponge here. So here's the magenta, and then I have the sapphire. And then I have the sapphire. That doesn't look like it's shaken up as well, so let's cover it up and shake it again. Squeeze out so it's nice and purpley colored. Cover that up, and then we're going to just swipe this across the paper. So we just kind of make a rainbow sort of swipe. And just keep blending that. And if you want to swoosh it and swirl it, whatever works for you. And then you're going to take the same kind of ink, this is gold, mica gloss, and we're going to use that on our rubber stamps. I take a second sponge here, squeeze out a little bit of the gold, and this time I'm going to push it into the sponge, and then I'm going to take my stamp and I'm inking up my stamp with that gold. And you just want to stamp the whole piece of paper with this little cat paw. Now once you finish stamping your little cat paw on here, you're going to cut your piece of paper in half. So that's what I've done here. And these two sheets of paper are going to cover the book. So I've got my two pieces of bookboard here, and I'm going to cover it with the mosaic tape. I like using mosaic tape because it's clean and actually it's pretty fast. So I just pop one piece on, and then I just cut it with my scissors. And I have another piece. And you want to fill the whole board here with the tape. And even though I have this little piece on the end, like so, I just cut here, and I could flip this over and then cut all along the edge. It makes a nice straight cut. And then what I do is I take my tape and I'm just going to pop another layer on here, like so. I know this looks like we're covering a lot of the bookboard, but actually we're going to be layering it because we have two pieces of paper that cover the whole thing. Now that I have my bookboards covered, I'm going to come back to my paper here, and we're going to flip these over. So let's flip one side over. And you just want to peel off the release liner here, the release paper, so that you leave the sticky side exposed. And then we have one more here, just like that. And you kind of want to center it. So I'm looking to see where the cat paws are, and I sort of want it right in the center here, just like so. And then I'm actually going to trim off about a ½ inch, so that I have a ½ inch margin here. And it's okay if it's not perfectly straight, because we're going to have another piece of paper that covers that up. The other thing that you want to do when you're covering a book cover is you want to trim off the corners, because when you fold the paper over, it ends up with too much paper there. So if you trim off some of that excess paper and leave about 2 millimeters from the edge, from the corner. And then we peel off a little bit more of the tape, fold this over, just like that, and then I just kind of use my fingernail and I pop this over. Let's peel off a little bit more of this release paper. Same thing, fold over, make sure this is nice and tight along the edge. And you just keep doing this all the way around. Right into that corner, and fold up and fold over. So that is going to be part of my book cover. This is going to be the front, could be the back, whichever I decide. So you're going to do this on the second book cover. My little sheet of paper is a little bit bigger than the adhesive that I have here, so I just need to put some tape right around the edges. And what I love about the mosaic tape is you can cut it so precisely, whatever you want to do. So I'm just going to snip it here like so, and then cut strips. Now that I'm finished with applying the tape to the edges of the paper, I'm just going to peel off the release paper. And then center this over my book board and press down, and everything is adhered to the book cover. Now that I have my two covers covered, what I'm going to do is create the spine of the book. And I've got this tape here. This is like called artist tape. And what's great about artist tape is it has nice sticky tape or adhesive on it, but it's not so sticky that you can peel it off. It's kind of repositionable. And I'm going to make my life easier. I'm putting it on this old sticker paper, like, you know, I had stick labels on here. And I put it on here so that I could easily peel it off in a second. I'm going to take some of my mica gloss and just pour it right onto my sponge here. I like this kind of lime green with a little bit of gold in there. And then I just roll it right over the top of this tape. And you can just let it air dry. Now that my ink is dry on the tape, we're going to have it facing sticky side up, and I'm going to lay one of my book covers on here. You want to try and make sure that the space is even from this edge to the edge of my tape. Then I'm going to take another piece of the book board that I cut real thin, because this is going to be the spine. And we want that to have about 1/8 of an inch margin in there. Press that down, press this down, come back in, try and get that really straight. Press down, and then fold this over. Fold over from the bottom. And if you have a little bit of gap here, you could actually take a second piece of tape, and I'm going to just trim it because this piece might show through. Lay that down, and then trim again so I have a nice square edge. And there we go. And that becomes the spine of my book. Now, to make the inside pages of my little journal here, I'm just using the same paper that I decorated for the cover of the book. And I trimmed this not exactly in half, it's just a little bit smaller than half of the sheet. So it's actually 8 1/4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And the reason why I did that is so that it fits nicely inside the book cover. Then once I have my half sheets of paper, I folded it again in half, and I actually took 5 sheets together in here and then folded it in half. Now I got these great little clips from Clover. They're designed to be used as pins for sewing, but what I found is it's perfect to hold my little pages together because I have all 5 pages and I need to mark in the center of the fold line so that when I stitch it, it's going to be even. So let's move these down, and I'm using my little ruler here. And my ruler, might be a little hard for you to see, but there is a teeny tiny little 0 right here in the center of the ruler. And then if you notice the numbers along this kind of line here, we have numbers. So there's 2, and then the 3 is out here. And you match up the numbers. So I've got 2, and then I just slide it over so we go to this line and this line, and then we've got an 1/8 of an inch there. And now I know this 0 is in the center of the 2 sides, just like that. And then I take my pencil and I just mark it here. So I mark 1 and then another, so this is 1 inch from here to here and 1 inch from here to here. And I just want to mark that because that's where I'm going to stitch this is called a signature. I'm going to stitch my signature together. And the other thing that Clover has is they have these tapestry needles, which is a little bit bigger opening, and I was able to put some embroidery thread through here. But what's nice about the tapestry needles is the needle is sharp, but not so sharp that it kind of pokes my finger. And I'm going to use a little bit of a cloth here, and I just press right where my little mark is. Go down, pull through, and I want to leave some of the edge of the thread there. And then I come back up and let's mark right in that little dot here. Or I'm pulling my needle up through the little dot. Then I come around, I'm going to slide my needle through, and then I just pull this together, and now I have a little knot here, and I trim it. Now, when you're doing real book binding, this actually is on the outside of the fold, but I'm going to put this into my book cover a little bit differently. My mom has a funny trick that she likes to do with her pantyhose that has little runs and snags in it. And what she does is she cuts along the opening like so. And what this does is it creates an elastic that doesn't decay and fall apart like a rubber band. So I just cut, so I have this little elastic. I take my signature that I've got with my little pages, and then here is my book cover, and I just loop this around like so. And if I want, I could pull it a second time if it needs to be tighter. And that holds this little group of papers right inside the book cover. The last thing that I'm going to do is I have my little Sassy cat here, and I would just put a little adhesive on the back and attach it to the front of the book cover, and my little journal is finished.
We hope you're enjoying our For the Love of Pets series, sponsored by Judikins and Clover. Please follow us on social media. Sign up on our website and you'll be entered to win a prize package full of some of our favorite products. And remember, as we always say, when creativity knocks, open the door.